of our big contributions, I think, here in getting into the Bhagavatam is the resurrection of story time. You know, we've got a culture that just resorts to Netflix, and before that, television. The family gets together. Now, people don't even get together to watch a movie. One kid goes in one room and watches one movie. Another kid watches another show on their device. The parents are watching their own thing. And it's like, what happened? But not only the story is told, but there were great, they would act these out. There were dramas going on where you're actually in it and everybody's sort of involved. It's like going to a musical or a drama, and everyone's sort of like, it's much different than watching something on a screen. And so we're resurrecting stories, but they're also, you see how Kali Yuga is moving so south, so quick. What are people watching on Netflix besides rom-com? Murder.
Children who murder.
True crime. Trafficking. These are the things people are watching. Halloween 12. Just like murderous things, one after another. Who's watching something to uplift the soul, uplift culture, uplift society, better yourself? It's like it doesn't sell as much. So these story times with the family, with the community, where people would come from, it still happens in India.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from high in the Himalayas in Nepal, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Demigods. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1462. Today is November 8th, 2024. Welcome to the show. Here live with a big crew, live, sitting in a tea stall somewhere up in the Himalayas, going towards the Annapurna Range. I guess we are in the Annapurna Range right now. And it's a miracle that we have a signal at all. But we're going to be cruising for the next 6 days through the Himalayas and trying to do the show live. Stu was just signed off, but he's going to sign on now. Miss Mara.
Yeah.
Any announcements?
Yes. First of all, happy birthday to Eileen Shovelin, whose birthday
Eileen Shovelin and Bobby Marchand's birthday.
Yesterday.
But
yeah, happy birthday to Bobby, of course. Also, we've got live Q&A on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe just Saturday, right? So we'll take questions from our people trekking. Live questions.
Oh, that'd be great. Questions from our trekkers. Yeah. Let's call it questions of the trekkers.
But if you're listening and you have a question for Raghu and Kastuba, you can post it on wisdomofthesages.com under the community chat. There's a little tab called questions for the hosts, and you can leave your question there and we'll answer it on a future Q&A day, or you can email us.
Hey, it's also another famous lady's birthday. Grandma Terry this week had her birthday. She turned a whopping 98. Wow. 98 years young. And according to her, she goes, I don't know why, but I have no pain in my body whatsoever. I know. Never went to a gym. Just lifted 7 kids up and down flights of stairs.
Serious workout.
Yeah, it's a workout herself. Okay, Kostuba's back, I think, somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you have to unmute him or something? Back. He's trying to get back.
Oh, it's also Brajasundari Radha's birthday.
It's Brajasundari Radha's birthday, too. I think. She's in Vrindavan. That's great. What a birthday present. There's Kastuba. Hey, Kastuba, how are you?
Hopefully I'm going to be able to stay online, but I'm here for now. Good to see you guys.
Oh, that's right. You're in Vrindavan, so you have a lousy connection, too. Anyway, we're making it happen. I heard you had an incredible day walking around Vrindavan. You want to share about it?
Well, I shared at length about it yesterday on the show, so maybe you and I should catch up separately. But can you hear me? No?
Now I can.
Okay.
I heard you're meandering around Vrindavan like that.
Yeah, I was meandering, roaming we call it. And, we roam from Sunkate all the way to Nundagram, but I spoke about it at length in yesterday's show. So I don't know if it's good
Well,
that I
we're roaming
repeat
in the
that.
Himalayas.
You can go and listen to it. You can go and listen to it if you want. But I mean, I don't mind talking about this whole show too if you really want. You can get your commentary on it. But it was wonderful.
Well, yeah, I've done it with those two also. They're both wonderful. And that's sort of the way to see Vrindavan nowadays, because it's become very congested. And, whenever there's tons of people, it can really be a distraction when you're trying to go deep into your spiritual life, even in holy
Yeah.
places. So it's nice to do a little
Yeah.
breakaway, find old Vrindavan, wander through the fields, meet sadhus, sit and pray, sit and read. Magic starts to happen.
It does. It really does. And I mean, if I only had a hat like that, I think the magic would really start to happen.
Got it.
Well, I can help you get this wizard's hat. This is a Dhaka topi. This is a traditional Nepalese dress. I was honored with it today during the kirtan. The community welcomed me in.
I see.
And
How much did it
we
cost?
just had a wonderful. I was gifted it by the community. They gave me a key to the city.
I know, but how much did you have to pay for it at the end? Like,
Kirtan Seva, Baba. What we did, we're at these tea houses. So a lot of the people are like, well, what do you mean we're staying at tea houses? They're little stone cottages, built with like local stones and mud. And they have little rooms for us. And it's quite,
sounds like your
they're
kind of
actually very
place.
charming. Huh? It's great.
Sounds like your kind of place. You like stone walls and things like that.
Totally. Oh, I tell you, I like stones. The stonework in Nepal is unbelievable. There's steps running through the entire Himalayan range. Like you couldn't even afford to make these steps in upstate New York to get the stonework and masonry, what they got going here. And it's quite beautiful. Stone walls, stone steps. And today was a short trek. It was only 2 hours, but it was straight up. We call it the stairway to heaven. You're just going straight up and it gets exhausting quick. But it's quite nice. And we chilled out. There's a cross between being like hot and cold. And then we got our little shower working, and then I took a nap, and then we came back. We served this an incredible, what do they call it? Dalbat. It's like a traditional Nepalese thali. And then we sat down, built a big fire to keep warm, and we just had this rocking kirtan. Super fun. Cody led, I led, Shaneshwar sang, everybody. And you know what's great? The Nepalese really want it. The Nepalese want it. They came out in full force just to support kirtan. And I really feel like I feel like due to commerce, we've sort of pushed the culture into being like adventure tour guides. We're going to go to Everest. We're going to go to Annapurna Base Camp. And so there's that whole mood here. But when you do kirtan, it's not like we're here to conquer the mountains. It's here we're to serve the mountains. These mountains are actually divine beings. And when you come here to sing, they appreciate it so much. They came out, this is a bunch of grown men sitting down and clapping their hands. Where do you find that in America unless they're drunk out of their minds? These are like grown men just clapping and singing. And one of the group assistants we have, one of the Sherpas, his name is Hari. And Hari just wants to sing. We were walking with him in the beginning. He was just chanting the entire time. There's a lot of bhakti in Nepal, and you just got to dig underneath that surface a hair, and everyone's like inspired. So it feels like a pilgrim. I feel like we're giving back to what this whole Bharat Vars gave the world and has given us. And so we get to give back and serve the mountains and serve the.
Just tell me you're not going to the people there and saying, I give you this mountain. Tell me you're not doing that.
I grant you this mountain from me to you. Now give me that topi. People came from other little tea houses to hear our kirtan tonight. It was very sweet. Kirtan on this trip has been very, very sweet, I find.
Especially when you're leading. Those are some of my favorite kirtans. For real.
Hardcore. You're kind, Prabhu. You're kind.
No,
You're
no,
very,
okay,
very
okay.
kind.
Okay.
But Cody's become a very powerful kirtan leader herself.
Cody's good.
And-
Cody's good.
Cody's good. And Janeshwar is
We ought to have a
powerhouse.
Wisdom of the Sages recording, you know, like we could get all these great kirtan leaders that are coming up from the Wisdom of the
Sort
Sages.
of like a We Are the World type of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
We are the world. You got Janeshwar. You got people from Colombia, Brazil, London,
That'd be pretty good.
Scotland. Get to Scotland.
We
got
can
Karina.
call we are the Watts.
We are the Watch was on the stage. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, you need a good producer to make that happen, and I think we could do that. It's all on Zoom. We're all pictures, and you see unmute, and then somebody else sings.
That'd be pretty good.
We unmute and mute the other person. Unmute the other.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with this.
All right. All right. We are the Watts. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, John Aprio will play violin for that.
All right. Cool. All right. Where are we going next?
Yeah.
Where are we going next with this?
We could go
Prabhu?
to the Bhagavatam if you like, but maybe some announcements
Let's
before.
go in. Miss Mary, what's going on? You announced my
Although-
mom's birthday. What
I
else?
just announced that this Sunday that Kastuba's doing an interview with Dravida Prabhu.
Oh, I'm not doing what I was doing.
Well, yeah, but we're
Nope.
tracking. So
Well, if you're don't miss this interview. We love Dravida. He was one of our early interviewees, and he is just a bundle of Sanskrit joy and poems, and he's got such an attraction for these real nectar poems of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And
What's your favorite one that he does?
Whenever I see him, I just say, tell me your favorite shloka that you're working on. He just studies different shlokas and he sings them and tells you beautiful stories. And I met him on the last Youth of Today tour, 1988. And we stayed at the Miami Temple and he was living there. And when we met him, it's one of those things, when you meet a great soul, they do something to your heart and nothing is ever the same again. They've like entered
What
into
did he
your
do to your
heart.
heart?
Now they always have like, he like put a little fish hook in my heart, a little love hook. And then that's it is the devotees that enter into our heart, and then when we get exhausted with the material world, then Krishna starts to reel it. Yeah, they tug on it. So I love having him. I'm going to miss him. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad we got him to do this. He's very busy.
You know, that was the thing with, and I was speaking about this yesterday with Krishna Murari Goswami yesterday, is just that all he had to do was reach back to these songs that he's learned since he was a child. And each verse is just rich with details about divine love. Like, and it's not just speaking about it in an abstract way. It's actually like going into incredibly fine detail about how people love Krishna and how Krishna loves his devotees. And you just hear the details, and the details they tug on your heart. It's just like, oh my God, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, that's hilarious. You know, it's just like, they're just, when you hear this theology in this beautiful poetic detail, you can't help but be charmed. You know, you really can't. And so Dravida Prabhu, he's loaded with that kind of stuff too.
You could just go to YouTube or even Spotify, Dravida, and he does the Krishna Karnamrita. He does the Nishringa Kavacha. Yeah, go to Spotify, everybody, right now, and just download that. Dravida, Dravida, and just listen to him chanting and play that as you go to bed at night.
Oh,
That's the way to go to bed, my friend.
All right.
Huh?
And not only does he chant
Let
these
me
ancient
help bed tonight, because
that's okay. I think I can handle it. But not only does he chant these ancient Sanskrit texts and memorize them and set them to beautiful melodies and so on, but he also takes them and translates them into English poetry of his own, and then chants the English poetry, and those are mind-blowing compositions as well. All right,
he's
we're gonna
not
make that
of
happen.
this world, And when you get a person
No.
like that, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to
Okay.
that. I'm going to.
Great.
Okay.
All right, let's
Right,
get into
let's get into the
Bhagavatam then,
Bhagavatam. Huh?
Hit it. Yeah.
Any other announcements?
Again.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Text 10.
No, chapter 10.
Chapter 10,
Chapter 10.
Text 1. We're starting a new chapter. It's called The Battle Between the Demigods and the Demons, the Suras and the Asuras.
Yeah. So maybe I can frame this out a little bit. I spoke a little bit about it yesterday, but we never actually started reading it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have 2 chapters that are just full out battles. And it goes into all kinds of unique detail. Raghunath, you're going to like it. You've got demons and devas fighting each other, and they're all riding on all kind of different animals, Raghunath. Wide varieties of animals, birds, fish.
Very excited for this.
Yes. I was talking to Vaisheshika Prabhu about this today, because we have lunch together every day now here. And I was saying, some of these chapters are just, they could have just said, and then they had a battle and this side won, and then it could get back into the philosophical kind of stuff. But it doesn't. It gives you
But it goes into elaborate detail.
Yeah, and there's not even a lot of commentary by the commentators on it. So it's like, why so much detail? I had my own thought, and I shared it with him, and he gave it his stamp of approval, which I'll share in a moment. But he shared something beyond that. He had a reference, but I couldn't find it before today's show. But he was saying that the Bhagavatam, what it does is it stretches out our imagination to the max. So it's almost like there's nothing that we can think of beyond what's in it. It's kind of like all in it. And it's just, we have certain Western critical, skeptical minds. People haven't always had that forever. It's not like, and we think it makes us smarter, or it helps us arrive at truth, but it blocks truth as much as it refines truth. It can vary.
There's so many things we can never. There's so many things we can never perceive.
We could never perceive.
Hear something fantastic.
Even though there's no logical reason why it couldn't exist, for our mind, we can't stretch it that far. I'm sorry, no, that can't be. Right? Sure. But he's saying, but Bhagavatam stretches it out so far that there's really nothing more that can be, and we hear all kind of hard stuff. And it's a way of purifying the mind.
There's always something turning up on the beach in New Zealand that we're like, we don't know what this thing is. There's always like reports of like,
what kind of stuff?
There's things on this planet that we don't even know what they are yet. We're still finding species of fish, of bugs, of insects, of weird cats. We're just like, we've never seen this thing.
Weird cat species.
Weird cats.
Let's check it.
Google that, Mara. Weird
Every year
cats,
they discover
New Zealand beach.
That's just a little planet. What to speak of other planets, and what to speak of things we can't perceive. There's things we can't perceive. Once you accept that, come on, people.
Anything's possible.
Once you accept that, it blows the ceiling off what could be.
That's the point. Yeah. And Bhagavatam's just going to blow the ceiling off of it. So that'll be happening in these next 2 chapters. Now, what I shared with him, what I shared yesterday, I'll share with you now, Raghunath, okay? And that is that I also think some of these chapters are just like cinematic by nature. They're meant to, you know, we read this on a computer screen or something like that, but like traditionally people would be sitting, you know, on the ground in front of a speaker who would be, you know, this was before television and before film and all of that. And they would be telling stories. And he would get to this battle and it would be described in such detail. The detail is somewhat captivating and it captures your imagination and it gets you into the story. And then it so kind of goes into a story, then it comes back and then it starts to give you philosophy again. But I think also part of the reason for this, for the cinematic detail that we're going to get in this chapter is it all frames the introduction of a very important character. So it's just like in a movie, like the first time an important character appears on screen, it's kind of like the director will give a lot of thought to exactly how that character appears so that an impression gets sunk deep into your mind about who that person is. And the person that's going to rise up and appear for the first time in the Bhagavatam in this chapter is Bali, right? Bali Maharaja. And this is an amazing character. This is a person born into the demoniac lineage, right? Dynasty. And he is powerful. He is terrifying. He can challenge. Indra rides around on a flying elephant shooting thunderbolts and taking down huge armies. Bali's a person that's ready to stand up to him and say, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm going to fight for my people, right? And so when we see Bali, he's like glorious. He's like it's like you're seeing 1,000 suns rise. It's like he's glowing and powerful and terrifying all at once. To see him on the screen would have been like amazing. But we're going to see that this person who's fighting tooth and nail powerfully against the Devas, who are in a sense the representatives of Lord Vishnu, we're going to see that he actually will demonstrate something that even that the Devas don't demonstrate. He gives everything. He gives his own, not only does he give everything that he owns, he gives his own self to Lord Vishnu and becomes glorified for it. So in one sense, he surpasses all the Devas, even though he's a demon, and there's a message in that for us. But in order for that message
you
to
just
sink
told
in
the ending of the story, sir. You know, you just
we
told
can
the
do that
ending.
here. We can do that here.
Spoiler.
But well, my point is that in order to see him surrender and fully understand what it means, first we have to see him as the powerful general demon, you know, on the battlefield. And that's going to be framed out in this chapter. So what I suggest, Raghunath, is that we just hear this like a story, that you read it like a story, and we move through it quickly. There's not a lot of commentary that we have to give on it.
One of our big contributions, I think, here in getting into the Bhagavatam is the resurrection of story time. You know, we've got a culture that just resorts to Netflix, and before that, television. The family gets together. Now, people don't even get together to watch a movie. One kid goes in one room and watches one movie. Another kid watches another show on their device. The parents are watching their own thing. And it's like, what happened? But not only the story is told, but there were great, they would act these out. There were dramas going on where you're actually in it and everybody's sort of involved. It's like going to a musical or a drama, and everyone's sort of like, it's much different than watching something on a screen. And so we're resurrecting stories, but they're also, you see how Kali Yuga is moving so south, so quick. What are people watching on Netflix besides rom-com? Murder.
Children who murder.
True crime. Trafficking. These are the things people are watching. Horror. Halloween 12, just like murderous things one after another. Who's watching something to uplift the soul, uplift culture, uplift society, better yourself? It's like it doesn't sell as much. So these story times with the family, with the community, where people would come from, it still happens in India. Matter of fact, there were troops. Ever heard of this? Troops that would travel around and do like
Gypsies?
Ramayan, not telling stories. They were like a type of sudras, I think, that class of sudras that would go around and they would memorize. They were illiterates and they would memorize like the entire Ramayan, and they'd show up and they'd act it out, not just telling stories, literally going through it word for word. They had just incredible shrutidara. They could hold whatever they heard and they memorized it. And then something about once you learn to read, you sort of like weakens your memory, they said. So they would just hold it all in their mind, and that was their service. And then people give them donations. They go to the next village.
Wow.
Imagine that. The Ramayan's coming to town.
No, it's coming to town.
And I feel like what we did tonight. I feel like that's what we did tonight. We sat around the fire, sang songs, all the locals came. I feel like we're getting to resurrect what once has. And after everything crashes and the apocalypse happens, we're going right back there. Grow your own vegetables, right? Make your own wool and have your own entertainment with your family and your neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a hat. Okay, we're going to dive right into this. Let your imagination stretch here today.
Stretch it out.
Sukadev Goswami. We were talking about Sukadev Goswami. Remember, Sukadev Goswami is the young teenage son of Vyasadeva, who's the guru for Maharaj Parikshit. And now he's speaking. He's speaking to the king. O king, the demons and the daityas and all engage with full attention and effort in churning the ocean. But because they were not devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, they were not able to drink the nectar.
Okay, that was last chapter.
That was last chapter. O king, after the Personality of Godhead had brought to completion the affairs of churning the ocean and feeding the nectar to the demigods, who are his dear devotees, he left the presence of them all and was carried away by Garuda to his own abode. So the Supreme Lord's very important. He drives a very, very important car. It is a giant eagle, a divine eagle. That's Garuda. Seeing the victory of the demigods, the demons.
I mean, just imagine that as a film, though. But just imagine that as a film, like the whole thing goes on, then he just gets on his bird and flies off into the sunset. It'd be an incredible scene.
Yeah. Yeah. The demons became intolerant now of their superior opulence, of the demigod's superior opulence. Thus, they began to march towards the demigods with raised weapons. So there's going to be a fight going on here. It's like Star Wars happening right now. Thereafter, being enlivened because of drinking the nectar, the demigods, who are always at the shelter of the lotus feet of Narayan, that's Lord Vishnu, used their various weapons to counterattack the demons in a fighting spirit. O king, a fierce battle on the beach of the ocean of milk. Let's go to the beach. Where? The ocean of milk. I wonder if you get... Anyway.
There it goes.
I couldn't even think about it. O king, a fierce battle on the beach of the ocean of milk ensued between the demigods and the demons. The fighting was so terrible that simply hearing about it would make their hair on one's body stand on end. Both
fierce.
parties in that fight were extremely angry at heart, fierce, and in enmity, they beat one another with swords and arrows and varieties of weapons. Imagine this going on. War scene. The sounds of conch shells, bugles, drums, betties, damadis, those are kettle drums, as well as all the sounds made by the elephants, horses, and soldiers, who were both on chariots and on foot, were tumultuous. The sounds of war. Horrible, huh?
And beautiful.
On the battlefield, the chariots, huh?
And beautiful at the same time. Both horrible and beautiful.
Beautiful?
Yeah.
Why beautiful?
Warriors say this.
Why beautiful?
Say, if you talk to people, like you hear these interviews of people in the Civil War, they'd say it was terrifying, but at the same time, it was just like from a particular point of view, the whole thing is just like amazing to witness, you know. And what to speak of is the Devas and the demons
So
on the bank of ocean milk.
They fought in a type of dharmic order back. You know,
That's
you
there
march
too.
forward.
He's going to talk about that.
One guy's playing the flute. No one's playing the flute anymore when they go to war. You know what I mean? No one's
I don't know of that. Yeah, I haven't heard about that
like
lately.
out anybody. No, in modern wars are playing the fife and the drum.
Yeah.
Okay. Some soldiers fought on the backs. Oh, text 8.
No.
On the battlefield, the charioteers fought with the opposing charioteers, the infantry soldiers with the opposing infantry, the soldiers on horseback with opposing soldiers on horseback, and the soldiers on the backs of elephants with the enemy soldiers of elephants. So they played it fair. They didn't just, the elephant guy didn't beat up the horse people. You know, that seems reasonable.
Right. Even though he's got,
you know what, the warriors back then had
animal.
some nobility. They had some nobility. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like take advantage of the weak.
Dignity.
Let's make a fair fight. It's what sort of like mixed martial arts is today. That's why I like mixed martial arts. There's like a nobility in the fighting. Some soldiers fought on the backs of camels. Sorry. In this way, the fighting took place between equals.
What would you want to be on, Raghunath? You got an elephant, a camel.
Definitely an elephant. Definitely a trained elephant. That is like the equivalent of a tank.
It's better.
Okay.
Some soldiers fought on the backs of camels. Some of the backs of elephants. Some on asses. I wouldn't want to fight on an ass.
Okay.
Some on white-faced and red-faced monkeys.
That could work.
It's like a gorilla.
That could work.
Some on tigers. Do you think they really trained tigers? And lions. Maybe if you had them from babies, you could train them.
Okay.
In this way, they all engaged in fighting. Huh. You think that's real, or you think that's otherworldly?
It's otherworldly and real.
Okay. So then it's completely definite that you could be fighting on the back of a tiger. O king, some soldiers fought on the back of vultures. What? Eagles. Ducks. That's a problem. Never fight on the back of a duck, Kostuba. You will lose that fight.
You can slide off.
First of all,
those backs are known to be very
ducks.
slippery.
They don't fly very. You slide off. Yeah. They're very slippery ducks. They don't have a strong pack either. They won't help you much. They're very soft. You could fall asleep on a duck. Sleep with ducks, but do not fight. Okay, what else did they fight with? They fought on the backs of hawks. So we're probably thinking gigantic hawks, not your typical hawks. You know what this is? This sounds like Avatar, doesn't it? And bassa birds. I don't know what those are. I'm going to look that up, Mara. Some fought on the backs of timingillas. What? I'm not going to even go in there. Fish. I know what it is, but I'm not going to even share what it is. Which can devour huge whales. So they're fighting on the back of whales? This is unbelievable, Kostuba. You believe this?
I do.
Some on the backs of sharabas. I don't know what that is. Some on the back of buffaloes. Buffaloes are a little lazy. Rhinoceroses, good choice. Cows, too sacred. Bulls, also sacred. Jungle cows. Huh? And arunas. I don't know what that is. Okay. Others fought on the back of jackals. No. Rats. Well, I guess Ganesh wrote a rat. They must be big rats.
Mouse.
Wait a second. This isn't happening on Earth, right? This is in a celestial region, correct?
I don't know. Have you seen an ocean of milk on the Earth?
Oh, good point. Good point. Fighting on the back of a lizard. Have you ever Google search Komodo dragons?
I've seen it before.
It is unbelievable that we live amongst them.
I would ride on one of those into battle.
Live amongst them. If it was trained, or else it'd start eating you. But obviously, yeah, imagine raising a baby Komodo from childhood, from infancy, from their egg. Imagine you hatching a Komodo egg, and then they think it's your mother, their mother.
Okay,
I know some
I'll
species
work on
do
that.
their parents. Okay,
Okay,
rabbits riding in the back of a rabbit. A big rabbit I could ride on. They'd ride on the back of human beings. What? Goats, black deer, swans, and a boar. I would take a big military-sized boar to ride on. In this way, mounted on animals of the water, land, and sky, including animals with deformed bodies. That means a specific animal with a deformed body, or just like a
Yes.
deformed beast, like a three-legged pig. Anyway,
Something
both
like
armies
that, but-
faced each other off and went forward. You're right. This does stretch my imagination, and I'm appreciating it.
Okay.
O king, O descendant of Maharaj Pandu, the soldiers of both the demigods and the demons were decorated by canopies, colorful flags, and umbrellas with handles made of valuable jewels and pearls. It's pretty cool that their weapons, there's like a whole science of making a sword, like ancient science. Japanese were really into. There's some like Shakti. We got to do some research on this. There's some like power sword makers put into their sword. And then they decorate the entire sword handles with jewels that assist the give the soldier astrological benefit according to their chart. Is that fascinating or what?
Very much so, Ragnar.
Like you can't just use anybody's sword. You got to use a sword that's got the jewels laid out for your own astrology. Like the crowns of the kings have to do with their own astrology, giving them strength in battle, diminishing their, malefic planets. O king, O descendant of Maharaj Pandu, both the demigods and the demons were decorated by canopies. I've read this. The soldiers, their upper and lower garments waving in the breeze, naturally looked very beautiful. And a light of the glittering sunshine, their shields, ornaments, and sharp, clean weapons appeared dazzling. Thus, the ranks of soldiers seemed like two oceans with bands of aqua. Here's the deal. If you're a warrior, these things become very beautiful.
Yeah.
If you're like a civilian, it's like fearful. But if you're a warrior, like, because I've done martial arts, when I watched mixed martial arts, I was like, that was great technique. That was great. That was bad technique. Stuff like that. That guy's losing his cool. He's losing his breath. He's going to go down. So you can appreciate those things. And they would even appreciate them amongst their enemies in these battles.
Yes.
They'd say, oh, very good. If you read the Mahabharata,
well done.
They glorify the guy that's fighting. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes. So there's that, but even just
They're just
visually
fighting out of
stunning.
duty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Especially with
Let's
all
keep
these
going.
jewels.
For the battle, the most
Imagine how
celebrated
much
commander
jewels
chief.
on the battlefield afterwards.
They would go
I'm
there and
ready to
collect
get a
that.
metal detector and find that.
Oh, Ragnar, here Bali's about to appear now.
Okay. All right. Ready for the battle. The most celebrated commander-in-chief, Maharaj Bali, the son of Virochan, was seated on a wonderful airplane named Vahayas. Trivia question, Mara. Who is Bali Maharaj related to?
Virochan.
Well, Virochan. What famous devotee is Bali?
Prahlad.
Got it. Prahlad. He's a descendant of Prahlad.
Grandson.
Sometimes great souls can be born in crazy families. I think I'm amongst some people right here. O king, the beautifully decorated airplane had been manufactured by the demon Maya. This is a very interesting fun fact. There's an architect of the demons named Maya Danava who makes very mystical homes, vehicles, flying air machines, etc. Mara, trivia question. Yeah. That was the architect for the demons. Who's the architect for the demigods? Boom.
I get a hint?
No, no hint.
I know I'm gonna know it.
Linda, do you know it, Linda? Linda. Okay, she says she's just being no. Kostuba, tell him.
You know, it's slipping my mind right now. There's My Donovan and there's I forget. What you got me? You got me.
Oh, Vishwakarma.
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 Okay, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. It's
Okay.
good trivia. This is how me and my
It's good.
kids. This is how me and my kids play games. We have a whole bunch of Krishna trivia games we play. Okay.
Okay. Kind of demon Maya.
Okay. So the demon architect made all these weapons and etc.
Combat.
Airplanes. It was inconceivable and indescribable, this airplane. Indeed, it was sometimes visible and sometimes not. Seated in that airplane under a beautiful protective umbrella and being fanned by the best of chamaras, those are those whisks, Maharaj Bali, surrounded by his captains and commanders, appeared just like the moon rising in the evening, illuminating all directions.
See, I would like to see the film of this. I would like to see this vision of this powerful, influential person just appearing on the battlefield, you know. And this person, we're going to learn something deep message about life from, you know, in the coming chapters. He's going to reject his guru in order to do the right thing, you know. He's going to, it's so good. Such a fascinating character. The demons actually become the people that we follow because they transcend their own, what do they call it nowadays? Generational trauma or whatever, you know? It's like he gets over it all, right? Yeah, and he can see who Lord Vishnu is. And he can let go of any kind of animosity within the heart and do the right thing. But here's where he first appears. All right.
Surrounding Maharaj Bali on all sides were the commanders and captains of the demons sitting on their respective chariots. Among them were the following demons. Do I have to list all these?
I don't
There's
think
just
you
a
have
bunch
to.
of demon
There's
names.
a lot of names here.
Okay. All of these, there's a lot of demon names that it's very interesting that why even, if you're into storytelling, why would you do that? I think
Well, people may
because these
know
are
them.
actually real beings. They're real beings.
Yeah.
All these
and people-
demons have been deprived of their share of the nectar and
They're
had
angry.
shared merely the labor of churning the ocean. So if you missed the last episodes, this nectar came out. They had to churn the ocean of milk. Nectar came out. It's a nectar of immortality. They were about to drink it, and Lord Vishnu appeared as the most beautiful lady, the goddess of fortune you could ever imagine. And all the demigods, out of lust, just did whatever she said. And she said, okay, I'm giving this to the demigods. And they were like, whatever you think. And they got cheated out of it. And they realized it was Lord Vishnu who cheated them.
And now they're in, because it was a lot of hard work to churn that ocean.
Yeah.
They are angry now.
They're
and
angry.
they're
All these
attacking.
demons have been deprived of the nectar and had shared merely in the labor. Now they fought against the demigods, and to encourage their armies, they made a tumultuous sound like the roaring of lions and blew loudly on conchs. Balibit, because that's a name for Lord Indra, upon seeing this situation of his
I think
ferocious
that
rivals.
means Balabit, Abit. I mean, it may be in the
Balabit,
enemy
I
of
don't
Bali.
know.
Like I think Agabit
Yeah.
is the enemy, right?
Balabit.
Yeah.
The enemy of Bali, Lord Indra, upon seeing. So Lord Indra, he's the chief of the demigods. He's getting angry now, and he's powerful because he just drank that nectar. Sitting on his vehicle, which was a flying elephant, Irabata. Yeah. An elephant who can go anywhere and who holds water and wine in reserve for showering Lord Indra. What? I never heard that. Looked just like the sun rising from Udayagiri. That's some mountain where there are reservoirs of water. Surrounding
all of
Lord
these-
Indra
They're cousins actually, right? They're all coming down in two dynasties that are coming from two sisters,
Yeah,
DT and
I got some
Aditi.
cousins I don't like either.
There you go. It can happen.
You can have them.
But they're
Yeah,
they're almost like equally powerful. But you know, this is the nature of the world. It's like there's always struggle. You know, like the demigods, they just had it made, right? Where they struggled so hard, but then Lord Vishnu helped them and they got the nectar that they needed to get the one up. But even though they got the one up, in this world, it's never settled. You know, it's just like the Republicans just won, you know, it's like the Democrats are like, oh no. And then, you know, they're going to win one more maybe or not. And then it's going to flip back. You know, there's just like always, always tension, you know, always a conflict.
seventh pillar. Seventh pillar. We don't talk about politics in Nepal.
I'm not talking about the politics. I'm just saying that there's always conflict in this world, you know.
We didn't even know who won. Spoiler.
Oh, sorry about that.
We're living out here in the jungle, sir.
All right.
We're milking yaks here. You understand how we live? Okay.
Milking yaks. Okay.
All right. We got to wind this up. We're almost done here. Surrounding Lord Indra, the king of heaven, were the demigods, seated on various types of vehicles and decorated with flags and weapons. Present among them were Vayu, Agni, Varuna, and other rulers of various planets along with their associates. I find it interesting that sometimes other religions read this stuff and like, you guys and your crazy gods, what do you think angels are? What do you think angels are? They're like godly beings with wings? You don't think that's weird? Come on. It's just going into more detail here. It's giving them names.
Yeah.
The demigods and the demons came before each other and reproached one another with words piercing to the heart. I wonder what they said. Then they drew near and began fighting face to face in pairs. O King, Maharaj.
Stand up, you coward. We worked hard to get that nectar, and now you drank it. Stand before me if you can. Right? Something like that kind of stuff, you know?
Maybe even worse. I don't think it would have hurt.
Yeah,
I don't think
it was probably worse.
It would have been like, you ugly
riding that
demon.
ridiculous bird. Okay.
You think what do you think you're gonna hurt me on that duck?
You're riding a duck of all things. What kind of fool?
O King, Maharaj Bali fought with Indra, Kartikeya. No, I'm sorry. Maharaj Bali fought with Indra, Kartikeya. So he's the general of the demigods. He's Ganesh's brother. He's very tough. Kartikeya with Taraka. And Varuna, the god of the ocean, right? He fought with Hiti. Mitra with Praheti. Yamaraj fought with Kalanabas. Vishvakarma, right? With Mayadanava. The two architects got in a
There
little.
you go.
It's a family feud. Yours sucks. Tvasta with Sambara, the sun god, with Varochan. The demigods Aparajita fought with Namuchi, and the two Ashwini Kumar brothers fought with Ripsa Parva. The sun god fought with the 100 sons of Maharaj Bali, headed by Bana, Banasura. And the moon god fought with Rahu. They're always at war, aren't they? Chandra and Rahu.
Yeah.
The demigod controlling the air fought with Puloma, and Shumba and Nishumba fought with the supremely powerful material energy Durga Devi, who is called Bhadrakali. That's Durga riding the tiger. Yeah, fearsome. O Maharaj Pricket, suppressor of the enemies. Lord Shiva fought with Jamba, and Vibhavashu fought with Mahishasura. Mahishasura. Ilvala, along with his brother Vatapi, fought with the sons of Lord Brahma. Durmarsha fought with Cupid. That would be easy.
It's a different Cupid.
Do you think Cupid can fight?
It's a different Cupid.
Arrows.
He's got arrows. I want to fight you, but I love you now.
Got me right in the heart.
I'm really angry at you, but now you're sort of cute. Sheriff, come here, let me give you a hug. Let's hug this one out, Cupid. That would be a great weapon, wouldn't it be? The love weapon. Boo!
Yeah, yeah.
I don't hate you anymore. The demon Utkala with Matrika demigoddesses. I don't know what that means. Brihaspati, he's the guru, fought with the guru of the demons, Sukracharya.
That's right.
And Saturn fought with Narakasura. Interesting. Saturn's a being, right? What's
Yeah.
Saturn name? Mara.
Shani.
Shani. Good. Mara, got it. The Maruts fought with Nivata Kavacha. And the Vasus fought with Kalakaya demons. Vishvadeva demigods fought with Paloma demons. I guess they're like a gang. The Paloma demons. And the Rudras fought with Protavas demons, who were victims of anger. All these demigods and demons assembled on the battlefield with a fighting spirit and attacked one another with great strength. All of them desiring victory, they fought in pairs, hitting one another severely with sharpened arrows, swords, and lances. I tell you, it's one thing to get shot. It's another thing for a guy to hit you with a sword. You ever imagine that? It's like, a guy hit with one sword, I'd be like, you win. I'm not. They severed one another's heads using weapons like Bushadundis, chakras, clubs, ristis, patisas, shaktis, ulmukas, prashas,
and various other expensive weapons.
Nitrimusas, lances, parigas, mugaras, and bindipalas. What? The elephants, horses, chariots, charioteers, infantry soldiers, and various kinds of carriers, along with their riders, were slashed to pieces. War is hell. The arms, thighs, necks, and legs of the soldiers were severed, and their flags, bows, and ornaments were torn apart.
Whew.
Okay,
Keep going,
we got to
Reverend.
go, actually. Let's stop there.
You got to go. Where are you going?
6:45. Mary, you got some takeaways
No,
today?
it's not at 6:30.
We have things to do here in Nepal. We have
But that doesn't mean you can
entertainment.
change the time.
No, it's 6:45.
Isn't this the time it is?
This is the time.
Is it a different time there? I got 6:30 over here.
We're 15 minutes ahead. But still,
Really?
it's the
It's
show
time.
time,
It's 5.
right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started 10 minutes late though, right?
You're gonna, yeah.
It sounds like you want to move on. Sounds like you want to move on.
You know what?
Ready for some takeaways?
We're gonna. He's worn out. He gave it.
I hiked the mountain today.
All right. Great souls can hook your heart.
Great souls can hook your heart. Great takeaway. Come on, let's hear for that one. All right. Okay, what else we got?
Except there's things we can't perceive.
Accept it. There's things we can't perceive.
Resurrect story time.
Isn't it weird to think that if there were no mirrors, you wouldn't even know what you look like? You know? Is
Well,
that
there's
interesting?
like pools of water.
Yeah, but maybe.
Stretch your imagination.
All right, imagine there were no pools of water. You could, your face is right here with you, and you have no idea what you look like. I mean, even still, sometimes people take photos of me, and I was like, that's me? You ever do that? Like,
Yeah.
like I look like that? Why didn't anybody tell me I look like that? You ever have this conception of yourself like you think you're much better looking than you are? And then you're like, that's how you look. That's how you look.
Good,
Okay.
didn't it, Topi?
Thank you. I do think I wear this well. It was given to me by the town, by the village. Okay.
How much did it
It's a-
cost them?
I don't know. It's a gift.
Yeah, I know they came in like they offered it as a gift, but in the end, when they asked for the money, like how much did you give them?
Sometimes great souls are born in crazy families.
Yeah. Yes, we know that.
There's always struggle and conflict in this world.
Yes.
Oh man.
For millennia, even out of this world.
And
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
And
never fight on the back of a duck.
That's a big takeaway. That's a t-shirt, Kastuba.
it's oily.
Thanks
It's-
everybody for
it's
joining
oily,
us. Sorry about the
it's
bad
slippery.
connection. It's not oily. It's a specific duck feather that makes when you drop water on it, the water will bead off and roll off.
But I think there's
I don't
oil
think
on
it's
there
real.
too.
It's just a waxiness and a feather.
Are you sure that's not oily?
I've also demonstrated this with a duck when I had duck.
I'm
don't
gonna
think so.
Google it.
Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us live. Everybody here, we got a good crew here. Check out our little.
Raghu, Baba, Raghu ji. Oh, Raghu. Baba. There's a gland near the
Hello.
duck's tail that produces an oily wax-like substance called preen oil.
Yeah, it's like a wax. It's like more like a wax. Beautiful
But it's
day,
called
bro.
oil.
Yeah, that's a wonderful wax in the back. That's what I was trying to explain. Beautiful day for a beautiful day. Let the magic continue to flow in a big honey bow.